Hi, folks. We're beginning Hebrew. It's been a little while, and I appreciate you joining us again. When last we stopped, we were reviewing this page, and at the very top of the page is the blessing for lighting Friday night candles. Just a slow review, very beginning of page 34. Hope you can see this. Baruch atah. This is read as Hashem. The hey with the apostrophe is read as Hashem. We say Hashem when we are not actually saying a prayer or a blessing. For the purposes of learning, you and I will say Adonai. So we would say Baruch atah Adonai. We'll continue. Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. And you're going to learn two new structures today. Reviewing a few words that are familiar. Baruch melech lahadlik Eloheinu asher. And you might say, oh my gosh, there are no vowels there. There are some vowels here. But once you get familiar with certain words and certain letters, you don't really need all the vowels. Two dots vertical underneath a letter are called the shava. The sound, a sounded shava. Examples of sounded shava are some common Hebrew words on line 1. Beracha, bracha. Bracha is the Hebrew word for blessing, a blessing of a short duration, beginning with Baruch atah, words we say, and also, oh, you are such a bracha, you are such a blessing to people. Tzedakah. Tzedakah. Some people pronounce it with a Yiddish accent. Tzedakah. It means justice. Tzedakah. We Jews use this word when we talk about giving money to a worthwhile cause for the purpose of making the world better, for the purpose of bringing justice into the world. There is no official Hebrew word for charity. We use the word tzedakah, tzedakah, to bring justice into the world. Berit, berit. Berit means covenant. Some Ashkenazim pronounce the word bris, berit, covenant. Shema, Shema. Kedusha, Kedusha. Kedusha means holiness, a sense of holiness. Kedusha. Some people say Kedusha or Kedusha. Both are accurate. Line 2. Le Shalom. Le Shalom, for peace. Lecha, literally, come on. Lechu, another form of come on. Neranena, Neranena, let's be happy. Line 3, Ma Leche, Ma Leche. Hamilachim, Hamilachim. Barachuni, Barachuni. Say tachem, say tachem. Kiddushanu, Kiddushanu. These words are generating a pattern. The pattern is the sound at the beginning of a word or a syllable. Two vertical dots underneath a letter at the beginning of a word or syllable, sound. Sometimes you'll see the shva in the middle of a word, like on line number 4 or line number 5, and it doesn't really have a sound. So line 4 is malache, malache, and since we're kind of blending the syllables, malache, the 2 dots underneath the lamed don't really get sounded. Malache, elyon, elyon. You don't really say elyon, you say elyon. You're bringing those syllables together. Baruch, 2 dots in the final chaf. Baruch, melech, very common to see 2 dots in the final chaf. This is not really a big deal. Frankly, as you become more familiar with reading and speaking Hebrew words, some of this will become automatic. This is background knowledge. Line number 6. Lahadalik, lahadalik, lahadalik. That means to kindle. When we talk about kindling Friday night candles or the Havdalah candle on Saturday night to say goodbye to Shabbat, or any holiday candles, we say lahadlik ner. Lahadalik, lahadalik, lahadalik. Kod shecha, kod shecha, kod shecha, kod shecha, kod shecha. So here the dalid doesn't really have an sound, but the shin does. Kod shecha. Grammatically speaking, the shaba shortens a vowel that it may be paired with. So this is eh. And yes, you have the vowel with 2 dots, the vowel with 2 dots, the vowel with 2 dots. It's a function of grammar. Line 7. Alechem, alechem, malache, malache. The lama does not really have a sounded sound, malache, because you're hurrying quickly to get to the next syllable. Malache, Adon, Eloheinu, Eloheinu. That's the famous word. It means our God. Asher, Asher. Asher means that or which. And usually in the context of a little Baruch Atah blessing, it's God which has commanded us to perform a certain mitzvah. That's what the word Asher means. Line number 8. Baruch Atah Hashem Eloheinu Melech Ha'olam Asher. A little bit of review. That's it right now on page 34. Let's go to page number 35. And here we have something brand new. First, we have the familiar O, and then at the middle part of this page, you see a V. You're familiar with the toothpick with the dot above it. When the dot is over the toothpick, it's an O sound. O. We've practiced this before. However, the toothpick without a dot is actually a V. It's a V sound. Here, there's no dot above it, no dot over it, so it's a V. This is called the Vav, and we'll practice this extensively in just a moment after reviewing lines 1, 2, and 3. So this element is one of the hardest parts of Hebrew. Once you can conquer this, you'll be in great shape. So don't worry about it. Kindergarten kids figure this out. So the toothpick has 2 forms. If it has a dot over it, then it's the O, or a dot in the center, it's an U. If there's no dot over it, no dot inside it, then the toothpick is called a Vav. In English, you might spell it V-A-V, and it has the sound of V. For now, lines 1, 2, and 3. Shalom, Kadosh, Notain, Torah, Sion, Ratzon. Line 2. Olam, Leolam, Hayom, Otanu, Hamotzi. Hamotzi is the famous word that's part of the very short prayer which we say whenever we eat bread or sandwiches. We say the Hamotzi. Line 3. Matzot, Matzot, Matzah, Matzot, Matzot. No surprises here, just to practice the O, just to remind ourselves of what the O looks like when we have the toothpick with a dot over it. This character is called the Vav. If there's a dot over it, it's the O. If a dot's inside it, it's U. Without a dot, above or inside it, this is the Vav. And now we're learning this word, V, because of the Shva. Si, Vanu. A very good example of how the Vav has two appearances. Here the Vav has no dot over it, no dot in it. So therefore it's V, Si, Va. Here the dot has the dot in the center, and the Vav with the dot in the center is an U. You know that. Vit, Si, Vanu. So here's the Vav in all its glory. And you see that it has some vowels to be practiced with on line number 4. Va, va, vi, ve, ve, beginning with 4. Va, vi, ve, vu. This is vu. The first vav has no dots, so it's a v sound. The second vav has a dot. It's the u sound. Vu. It's a bit strange, but you can handle it. Same pattern here. Vo. Vo. The first vav has no dots, therefore it's a v. Second vav has a dot, it's an o sound. Vo. This would be o. This is v. Back to line 4 just one more time. Va, vi, ve, vu, vo, o, v. Practicing the last 4 characters. This is vu. It's the vav with the u vowel. Vu. This is vo. Vav with the o vowel. This is the regular o vowel. O. You know that word. O. This is v. Easy. Now we're going to line number 5. V Shabbat. V Ratzah. V Ad. Va'ed. Va'ed is often associated with a word that we'll encounter on the line number 6, line 6. Va'ad. Olam. Olam. Le'olam. Va'ed. Here's that word, va'ed. Le'olam. Va'ed. Often these two words go together. Le'olam means forever. Va'ed means and ever. Le'olam va'ed, forever and ever. Ve'otanu. Ve'otanu. Line 7. Here comes the hard part. Look at this. This is a vav. No dot in the center, no dot over it. Therefore, it's a v sound. M'savcha. M'savcha. So the hint is that if you see the shva, the two vertical dots underneath this character, underneath the vav, then it's going to be a v sound because you're not seeing the dot in the center or the dot over it. So over here, you've got two dots underneath the vav, mitzavacha. Let's keep on going. Hayom, just a regular O sound. Hayom. Mitzvah. Mitzvah. That's a mitzvah. That's the Hebrew word mitzvah. Now you know what mitzvah looks like in Hebrew. Mitzvah. Let's go slowly. Mitzvot. Mitzvot. The first vav, no dots. Therefore, it's a V sound. Second vav has a dot. Follow the rule you know. It's an O. Mitzvot. Mitzvot, or mitzvahs. Line number 8. Siva. Siva. Keep going. Sivanu. Sivanu. Keep going. Vasivanu. Vasivanu. Vatsivanu. Vatsivanu. Line number 9. Siva. Mitzvah. Siva. Mitzvah. Siva. Mitzvah. Line number 10. Mitzvah. Mitzvah. Mitzvot. Think of the rule. 2 dots. This has no vowel. So it's a new syllable. Mitzvot. That's the O because it's got a dot over it. Vote. Ba mitzvot. Ba mitzvot. Okay. Let's try one more page. Sometimes you will see that a publisher does something to save ink, let's say. So this word is mitzvot. First vav, no dots, therefore it's a v sound. Second vav has a dot, sound it out, mitzvot. This makes sense to us. This is harder. For some reason, some publishers will write this word without 2 vavs. And you and I will look at this and say, meets, what is it? Well, meets, when preceded by shaba, oh, this is not oh, it's really vo, vo as in vo. Meets vote. Because this is now a new syllable, meets vote, you need to begin a syllable with a consonant, and v is a consonant. This is going to take just a little bit of practice and familiarity over the course of time. So line number 1, because you've got the 2 dots here, this tells you that you're in an exception to the rule. This is an exception to the rule. Because of the 2 dots. So let's go this side. This is more familiar. Mitzvo, 2 dots, equals mitzvo. Mitzvot equals mitzvot, because you've got the 2 dots. It's a new syllable. Ba mitzvot. Listen to the syllables. Ba mitzvot. 3 syllables. Ba mitzvot. Ba is 1 syllable. Meets is a 2nd syllable. Vote is a 3rd syllable. Ba mitzvot. because you got a new syllable, the vo is the new syllable, these two letters might be combined into one by some publishers or printers. And that's how you know that this becomes a verbalized v sound. B meets vote. The two dots underneath the tzadi kind of close this off. B meets vote. Meets is the second syllable. Vote is the third syllable. Torah who meets vote. Torah who meets vote. Once more. Torah who meets vote. Over here. Torah who meets vote. Torah who meets vote. Two dots. That's important. Here we have mitzvot Hashem. Mitzvot Hashem. Line 5. Mitzvot Hashem. Mitzvot Hashem. The mitzvot of God. A very important word here in the middle of this page is b'mitzvotav. B'mitzvotav. Since you have the two dots, this second syllable has been closed off. When you start a new syllable, you have to start it with a consonant. V is a consonant. O is a vowel. You couldn't say b'mitzvotav. It just doesn't work in Hebrew. So that's why you're learning about the two dots vertically, which close off the syllable. B'mitzvotav. This is a yud. This is kind of another irregular feature of Hebrew. When you have the a vowel and a yud and a vav, it's pronounced tav or mav. So look at line number 6. Bim ro mav. That's a silent yud right here. Bim ro mav. You could write it this way. Bim ro mav. Usually you'll see it with a little yud. The yud is there because it does affect the meaning of the word. The yud helps to indicate that this is possessive his, literally bim romav, in his heavenly heights. Line number 7. B'mitzvotav. B'mitzvotav. Repeating 7. B'mitzvotav. B'mitzvotav. Literally, in or amidst his commandments. B'mitzvotav. Line 8. Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav. God is the one that made us holy with his commandments. Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav. On this side, Shalom bim romav. Shalom bim romav. Next line down. Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav. Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav. Near the bottom of the page, lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. And in the box, this is a very famous blessing. This is the blessing we say when we light Friday night candles. And now you're invited to join us lighting Friday night candles. Baruch atah Hashem Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav Vutsivanu Lahadalik Ner Shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, God, our God, sovereign of the universe, which or who has made us holy with his commandments and commanded us to kindle the flame of Shabbat. Well, congratulations, you're nearly finished today. I do want to go over one little bit of extra Hebrew. Pardon me, it will take a minute to find. Here it is. Here it is from a different book, but I just think it's helpful to practice a little bit. So again, reviewing that the toothpick with the dot over it is the O. It's the O. And so on line number 1, we have O, to, show, mo, vo, do. Line 2, bosh, moat, oat, don, comb. Line 3, avo, shemo, oto, hodo, home, moshi, ot, shoni, mosha, hamon. Line 5, modeh, hod, hoda, hoda'a. Line 6, moshav, makom, otam, adon. And allow me, pardon me 1 second. Here, that's what I want to practice. This is the Vav. Again, from a different book, that's good practice. This is the Vav, no dots, therefore it's going to be the V sound, line 1. Va, va, v, va, v, va. Line 1. Va, va, v, va, v, va. Line 2. Va, vaha, vasha, vahi, va. Line 3. Tav, vav, that's the name of the letter, it's a vav. Va'a, shiva, vash. Line 4. Va'a, ve'aha, ve'ata, shiva. Remember, a shiva is the 2 dots that are vertical. So this is the shiva itself, shiva, 2 dots. Line 5. Va'at, ve'ata, vahi, Vashti. Do you remember Vashti? She's the first queen who appears in the Megillah of Esther, and she doesn't want to come to a certain party or banquet that the foolish king Ahasuerus is throwing for his courtiers, probably because he wants to show her off as a trophy, and she doesn't want to go. And so he banishes her, and that's when he brings Esther in. Well, this is Vashti, and that's how you write the name Vashti in Hebrew. And here is vered. This is the Hebrew word for a rose. So now you know how to say rose in Hebrew, vered. I appreciate you joining in. Thanks again for joining us. Looking forward to seeing you next week. Take care.